This is my first video for my minerals lecture from my nutrition classes. I think what I'm going to do is actually make a whole bunch of smaller videos on individual minerals. It will be more videos, but I think they'll be smaller. I think it's a better idea. Why I haven't just made like a mineral video on calcium and a mineral video on iron and use it for all my classes, my sports class and my nutrition class. Why I have not done that is a mystery that we will tell ourselves for the ages. So let's talk about minerals. So kind of different in terms of when you're comparing vitamins in your diet. Yes, you need a lot of vitamin C. But vitamin C, I think for females is 75 and for males it's 90 milligrams a day. Then you get into things like B3, B2, B1. Those are all like, 10, 5, 7 milligrams a day. Minerals are really different. Like the amounts you need for some are completely different than the amounts you need for others. For calcium, you need more than a gram per day. Phosphorus is more than where's my potassium? Yeah, this is not correct. Oh, okay, this is in the body, but in terms of what you need per day, you need a lot of calcium per day. You need a lot of potassium per day. Even sodium is 500 milligrams, half a gram a day. I know we worry about too much sodium, but the minimal amount is pretty high. And then you get into ones like iron and zinc, and you don't need a lot of those, but maybe iron is 18 milligrams a day for females, like 8 or 10, I think, for males. Zinc is around the 10 mark. You get into copper and iodine, you're talking milligrams, and you don't even see selenium on this list. The requirement for selenium, which is used in antioxidant enzymes, is microgram per day. That's what? That's millionth of a gram, not milligram, microgram. So the discrepancy in need is astronomical. And the funny thing is that I've got this chart that compares like what's in the body, and then that's similar to what your need is. And if you were to look at the Earth, and it's not that equal, but if you looked at which minerals are most robust in the Earth, this kind of sort of reflects what you see in the Earth's crust. Now, the Earth does have a lot of iron, and so you say, well, why isn't there more iron in the body? Well, here's where it gets weird. Some of these, like iron and copper and selenium, they're very reactive molecules. So even though there's a lot in the Earth, you just can't use them because their chemistry is too aggressive. So if you were to balance the amount that's in the planet Earth and how aggressive they are chemically, what we use from diet makes completely logical sense. It's really amazing, and this is something that it's probably beyond the scope of the class, but I remember learning it in grad school. It's like a light bulb went off in my head. That's why we're made up of the things we do, the things that we're made up of, the minerals, and that's why we can only use some in small amounts because their chemistry is just too aggressive. Okay, and so we call some of these major minerals. Some of these are called minor or trace minerals. Selenium, I said you need very little. Manganese, you need very little. These are kind of funny. There are enzymes in the body that can use arsenic, boron, lithium, but one or two enzyme pathway. And the reason why you get into possibly essential, it really comes back to, is it even possible not to have them in the body? If you're trying to look at boron, in animals, you have to go 3 generations. So grandparent mice, no boron. Their kids, no boron. Their grandkids, no boron. Their grandkids are kids. So you got great grandkids. Then those mice might have some effect of not having boron in the body. So it's almost impossible not to have contamination of these because we need so little. And that's why it's hard to call them essential. I mean, technically oxygen is essential, correct? And so when you talk about minerals, you talk about water. Wherever there's minerals, there's water. Or the converse, wherever there's water, there's minerals, right? And water's carrying your minerals. It's the solvent in which all your minerals are dissolved. And water has other functions, right? It's not just for minerals. Water cools your body. In the sports class, we really get into this because your ability to blow off heat in hot environments is water-based. Your ability to keep yourself warm in cold environments, because water carries your heat, being dehydrated in cold environments is dangerous. Digesting food, making sure your bowels are working right. It lubricates your body. Maintaining good blood volume. All that involves water and all that water requires all that water carries minerals. And to kind of end on this, where your water comes from is kind of interesting. You don't have to drink all your water. If you really did consume very watery foods, you'd probably need very little fluid water. Most people get most of their liquid water from fluid. But some people do get a lot of their water in liquidy things like fruits and vegetables, some grains, animal tissue, dairy, cheese. And then here's a kind of interesting one. You do create water. We will talk about this in the sports, well, I shouldn't call it sports, in the energy chapter. When you take fat or carbohydrate and you mix it with oxygen and you push it into parts of the cell that make energy, you know what comes out of the cell? CO2, that's what we expire, and water. People make about a can of Coke, so a 12-ounce Coke can worth of water a day. Isn't that interesting? And we'll talk more about that when we get to the kind of sports energy chapter. Okay, and then as I tell my sports class, look, you don't have to do fancy chemistry. You don't have to weigh your food. You don't have to do any of this stuff. It's all about urine color. If your urine color is very pale when you pee, you're probably hydrated. If you're going to go do a sporting event, you almost should have to show up at a 5K or a 10K and have to go pee. You almost want to be slightly hyperhydrated, not overhydrated. The term they use is hyperhydrated. You know, where there's just a little too much fluid in your body and you really do need to pee. Because if you run out of carbohydrates in sports, and we'll talk about this when we get to that chapter, you might sit down on a curb and cry. You run out of water in sports or hiking or camping, you might lay down on the ground and die, right? It's a lot different, the importance of water versus everything else. Okay, and then there's this. So I'm going to end on this, and then we're going to start on the calcium video.